So good to be with you. Greetings, everyone. Welcome. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Welcome to episode 92 of The Glow. It's a beautiful sunny afternoon. When you're entering, please share where you're from, where you are. This is a space to share wisdom, insight, inspiration. It's also a place to share the stillness within, from which insight, inspiration, creativity, and wisdom stem from. So, in simple language, it's a place to relax and be yourself. Or as we say in the States sometimes, to chill out. To be as you are, to recognize and realize, to rest into the essence of who and what we truly are, from the most authentic truth that resides within. Let's take a few moments to ground together as people gather and join us. And close our eyes. Letting the rest of the day go. Anything that's come before this moment. Paying attention to the breath, slow, deep breaths at the bottom of the stomach. Feeling the electromagnetic frequency of the hearts that are joining us from around the world, and more that will be in the playback. Feeling the connection, the support. Realizing that we're not alone. That we are a part of something, a unified organism, a unified intelligence, much larger than ourselves. And when we're present and allow this intelligence to move through us as a clear, open channel for the unique expression that we are, the magic and the miracle of life, the magic and miracles are allowed to flow through us and allow for greater insight, inspiration, epiphanies, openings of the heart, shifts in consciousness, awakenings to who and what we truly are. Let's take 3 deep breaths together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. When you're ready, open your eyes with fresh, innocent eyes as if you're seeing life for the first time. And just take a few moments to look around the space and silence. Notice if things feel more alive, vibrant, colorful, present. Here and now, and welcome to a deeper here and now. So one of the things that's come up in the past few days is emotion. Emotion. And it's really fascinating because there's this ideology, belief that emotion is not spiritual. That to have emotion, particularly strong emotion, or maybe even any emotion, is not spiritual. And we should be able to kind of come to some higher place that transcends emotion. It's particularly, I think, for men, a common belief. When you look at what emotion really is, it's energy. You know, it's energy in motion. It's energy that can be a true gift to us. It's energy that can inform and guide us. So emotion, as we awaken, is something that we identify as divine, just as we come to recognize and realize everything else inside us as divine. It's not something that needs to be suppressed or repressed or pushed down. It's something that can be embraced, that we can allow to flow, to move. What I've discovered for myself as I've awakened in consciousness more and more is I feel more deeply, not less deeply. The capacity to feel is deepened. The more present I am, the more present I become, the more I'm able to feel what's here, what's happening, what's alive, what's vibrant, what's around. This doesn't mean we need to get lost in emotion, become attached and identified with us, but to really be liberated, be free from needing to suppress, repress, alter, hide from, run from, shield ourselves from. Avoid emotion in any way. Welcome, Martin. So glad that you're here. Thank you for being here. And when you can really be in the flow of emotion, be present with emotion, without resistance, without egoic contraction, there's a smoothness, there's a certain grace that you're able to be in the flow of. Hi Miriam, welcome. It's intelligence, emotional intelligence. So our emotions are here to inform us, to guide us, to direct us, to support us in navigating the three-dimensional linear realm. It also creates a space of empathy, compassion. So when I'm present and I'm walking down the street, I see a person who's homeless and is suffering. Not to say that every person who's homeless is suffering, but let's say I do see someone who's suffering, then I feel that. I feel that. Then I keep walking and I see a baby being held by a mother, and the baby's has this giant smile on his face. And I feel the joy of the baby. Right? So we're able to feel what's happening, which means we're able to be connected to what's happening. So really to be cut off from our emotions is to be cut off from life. To be cut off from this moment. Welcome, Jen. From Hong Kong? I was there a few months ago. Really had a great... I was only there for, I think, one night, but it sure was fun. I really enjoyed my time there. Welcome, Kelly. SoCal. From the desert. So allowing ourselves to feel the emotion without being attached or identified, which gets us lost in it. And the amazing thing is when you try to resist the emotion that you identify as bad, that you label as negative, that's when you get lost in the emotion and you can't escape it. Eventually you will, but there's the perception that you can't. It keeps you stuck in it when you're identified and attached to it as bad, as negative, as something you don't want. I was talking to a gentleman a few days ago who felt like he was having emotions that were bad and was trying to get rid of them. And in trying to get rid of them and thinking they're bad, he's feeling worse about himself, feeling more shame, feeling more guilt. And it's like this downward spiral, right? So to be able to feel, welcome Janky, namaste. To be able to feel emotion wholly, fully, completely, like let it run through your system. And maybe you can speak it, or write it, or sing it, or dance it. Or perform it in a play, or a movie. Or write poetry. But to be in the flow of the energy. Without anything getting stuck or caught or held up or... It's like you're a clear open channel. You're a clear open channel. You're a clear open channel. So, and you can alchemize what gets filtered through the system. Think of yourself as like a purification system. So what you're surrounded by walking down the street, you feel it, you can alchemize it, right? When you're a conscious, present, creative being, you alchemize what you're taking in through your senses. So, but without resisting it, or trying to change it or manipulate it, fully embracing it. So I'm walking down the street, I encounter the homeless man who's in a state of suffering, right? I feel it, I'm present with it. I meet that energy with presence, with full presence, without trying to resist, suppress, repress, with acknowledgement. And in that space of acknowledgement, there's a relationship that allows the energy to move. There's something healing in being present. Someone asked to speak to me on the phone today, going through something difficult, and they're telling me what's happening. I'm listening. Really didn't share anything too profound, really, mostly listening, but the listening they felt was healing. To be able to share from a vulnerable place and feel heard and feel seen in this space was healing and allowed energy to move. So with emotion is energy moving. So when the energy is moving, it's nothing to be afraid of, really. We get afraid because we're afraid of the unknown. What am I going to feel next? What's going to happen to me? Right? What if it's too much? What if the emotion is too strong? But to be in the flow of the energy is beautiful. It is what it means to be alive. Is what it means to be awake. Is what it means to be love. Is what it means to be free. But when we identify to a story of who we think we're supposed to be, and we start to try to repress or suppress emotion because it doesn't align with the story we've attached and identified with who we think we're supposed to be, then we're not present. We're not in the space of love. We're not in the space of freedom. To recognize and realize who you really are doesn't bring happiness. How's that for some truth? To recognize and realize who you really are doesn't bring happiness. What it brings is freedom. What you recognize and what you open to is the most vast, expansive liberation possible, beyond anything that can be imagined. And what you awaken to is love. The most vast, infinite, expansive love beyond anything one can imagine. So to be fully here, alive, awake, present, connected, free than anything that one can imagine, love than anything one can imagine, peace underlying whatever's arising and falling. So that means to recognize the stillness underlying, to recognize the spaciousness we are underlying anything that's arising and falling, to be empowered means to be fully, wholly present with the emotional movement from moment to moment that's present. Not to be afraid of it, not to try to change it, not to try to manipulate it, not to try to run from it, not to try to avoid it, not to try to change it to something that is happy. Trying to be happy does not allow for the freedom that I'm pointing at. Trying to be happy does not allow for the love that I'm pointing at. So there's a lot of teachings and books and whatever else there are on how to be more happy. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be more happy if you want to try to be more happy, but what I'm saying is you're not free. You're not free in the way I'm pointing at when you're trying to be happy. It's like it's like going around a prison cell looking for candles when you can have the sun. Does that resonate? Does that make sense? Trying to be happy is still in the realm of the egoic story. To be attached and identified with the story of myself separate from the world around me. You see what I'm saying? So no matter where you go in that game, the game is still so small, so tiny. And ultimately a source of suffering because you're not aligned with the truth of who and what we really are. And when we recognize who and what we really are, which is beyond attachment identification with the story, there's a freedom that's here now. There's a vast, infinite expanse of freedom that's here now. There's a vast, infinite expanse of love that's here now that embraces and absorbs whatever arises. That's why it's free. That's why it's unconditional love. It embraces and absorbs the full range of emotion, the full range, totality of experience, the full range of all that's arising and falling as one with who and what we truly are. There's a line from U.G. Krishnamurti that I really appreciate. He said, I'm telling you, I don't know what happiness is. Therefore, I can never be unhappy. Certain lines when they're just like so succinct, they just boom, they just pop you open. Those are the best lines. So try to chase one emotion and avoid another emotion doesn't allow for freedom, doesn't allow for love, doesn't allow for empathy, doesn't allow for compassion, doesn't allow for inner peace, and doesn't allow for empowerment. To embrace the full range of emotion, most importantly, what's arising now in a visceral way, not in a conceptual way, not in an intellectual way, not in an ideological way, in a visceral way, while being unattached and identified with it as a story of who and what you are, allows for this deepest depth of intimacy and also the greatest freedom. To be fully, completely, wholly here with you, and paradoxically at the same time to be nowhere at all. Sometimes people will say to me, why are we here? Right? Why are we here? Why am I here? Which I do have a good answer for that question. However, what's interesting about the question is, when someone says, why am I here? Where's here? What here are you talking about? You know? I don't know where here is. One person's here is a different person's different here, right? There's lots of different heres. So be mindful of not creating and being attached and identified with limiting belief systems that we presume to be true. And then take as reality and then feel stuck inside it. But that's maybe something to continue with another day. It's a slightly different topic. Welcome, Sam. Anyone have any questions or comments? Thank you all for being here. It's a beautiful space to be present together, which is the only place where the real magic and miracles, healing and transformation happens. And to really be able to rest and relax into the authenticity of who and what you truly are. And to feel supported in that in a collective group. So, thank you. Feel blessed, appreciative for your presence. Episode 92. Welcome, Kelly. Next will be episode 93, and then 94, and soon we'll be at 100. What should we do? We should have some sort of amazing celebration of some kind, right? See you in the next now.